Monday, May 11th. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers. Hopefully you celebrated yesterday. Lots of hardworking mamas. This is From the Middle Seat. We are going to recap what's happened since April 16th, our last filming. A lot has happened. We spent a week with more national calls, getting our designers together across the country. And then we also did a week with sales reps, where we got our A+D sales reps from across the country together to talk about their strategy, what they think, and just kind of like share in what's going on. So this is a recap from that. In the midst of that, we also went into the residential side of the business and we talked to our residential next geners in Chicago and got the insight from the residential side. So that's what we'll share with you. So starting with commercial hospitality and those national calls from across the country, there was a huge shift the week of April 20th through May 1st. A lot of our designers who had been on city calls and then were on the national calls had a lot shift in their own personal lives. We had a lot of people laid off and furloughed during that time. I think design firms realized this was going to go on a little longer than they anticipated and projects were going to be affected, and so they made cuts. So that was really, really hard, and the week of April 20th, we saw a lot of that from both sales reps and design firms actually. So we actually reached out to a few of our next geners who had been laid off or furloughed, kind of like, now what? Like, what do you do? Because if you hadn't been laid off or furloughed, you definitely have thought about it during this whole COVID-19 situation. So I was so inspired. It was amazing to read their stories because they're full of so much hope, so much optimism. Christina, Emily, and Asia filled us in on what their plans of attack are. So some of them are going to grad school now. Some of them have started side hustles that they've been thinking about, that now's the time to kind of jump in and give their full attention to it. So it's been really exciting to see just kind of their level of hope and optimism in a hard situation. So you can swipe through this article and read more here. It came out during our network newsletter and now is on our website. So definitely check out their stories, especially if you're in fear that that's going to happen. We also had a bunch of our design firms who were small businesses get approved for their small business loan, and they were able to bring back a lot of their employees that were furloughed. We saw that in a few different cases across the country. They're only saying that they're like safe for about 8 weeks, so they're really nervous about that actually. That's kind of like a double-edged sword. But it's really great that they've been brought back, and they're pretty excited about that. So that's something also to keep in mind. It seems like in general, hospitality is still slow. There are a few projects that have popped up, and that's picking up, which is great. Again, that state of the industry is a little unknown right now, but we've seen some really interesting clients bring up some future ideas and how they're having their designers adapt now. One of them was, we saw a designer who's working on a restaurant in Boston. They actually had all their furniture done and in, and they had the furniture removed because this restaurant believes that people aren't going to be coming in and dining the way they used to, and so they're doing a lot more of the walk-up concepts and kind of thinking futuristically of how that restaurant's going to operate. So that was an interesting one. So we're already seeing clients adapt to what they feel like the future is going to be based on the situation. There are a lot of projects on hold and a lot of projects are going strong across the board. It's really a mix. Healthcare seems to be slow besides any sort of specialty that's popped up for COVID. It seems like in general, healthcare has slowed pretty heavily from what we're hearing. Higher education, office, multifamily are still going pretty strong and getting new projects. So that's exciting to hear. All right, we'll go into the kind of the residential side of the business from our residential next geners. Residential is really going strong right now. There are no major layoffs we're seeing. Obviously, those residential firms tend to be smaller, so that's definitely a factor there in terms of impact. However, we're really seeing a ton of these designers on the job sites being careful and cautious. Design firm owners are the ones who are tending to go to the site and not have their employees go, but that's been really interesting to see. And they almost, like, this was interesting, some of these design firm owners are almost feeling bad about publishing on social media because they know that the state of the industry on the commercial hospitality side is suffering, and they don't want to publish like them walking through these really amazing projects that are still going because they don't want people to feel bad. But that's the amount of work that they have going on that they like are almost scared to publish it because there's so much happening. and they want to be like sensitive to the situation, even though they're not slowing down. They're definitely picking up smaller projects though, based on just kind of hedging for the future downturn if that does happen. So designers who normally wouldn't do like, a bathroom or a mud room or a master bedroom or something like that, they're picking up those projects now just to hedge. So that's definitely a difference and something that we're seeing across the board from a residential perspective. All right, sales reps, we'll go into that. I'm really excited to see our sales reps across the country. In general, sales reps seem to be kind of like holding their breath a little bit, just kind of waiting this thing out like everyone else is. And they're really trying to be more of a friend rather than a salesperson. So they're really thinking about checking in on their clients and just seeing how people are doing and just being there rather than trying to push sales. So especially with all the virtual noise that happened the first month, a lot of our sales reps are hearing from their clients it was just a lot and too much. So a lot of sales reps are being really cautious about how much they're kind of contacting clients and like really like pushing information. And they're, like I said, just trying to be a friend right now. A lot of the sales reps mentioned this point, which I thought was interesting. They're really relying on formally built relationships, especially when you're trying to be a friend and check in on someone. You really have to kind of know them first. So a lot of people are saying that, relationship building right now is hard and you're kind of screwed if you haven't already set up your client base and the people that you go to and really do well with. So that's something that's really interesting, really tough for the new sales reps out there. A lot of sales reps are just relying on their formally built relationships. A lot of companies have adapted and are virtually showing products through quick videos. So 30-second videos, 1 minute to 5 minute videos, just showing their new product and kind of filling people in with information rather than sending just an email. So a lot of virtual product demonstrations are happening in quick videos, which seems to be doing really well from what the reps are saying. They're really adapting. They're excited to get back into the workforce and like get back into firms and get things going again. A lot of sales reps are used to working from home and remotely. However, they're also used to being on the go. And so the main thing we're hearing from sales reps is they're just antsy. They're just not used to being cooped up and they want to get back out there. They're also balancing, babies with the daycare situation and kids and homeschooling and all that on top of what they're trying to do. It's been really hard. A lot of sales reps though are busy and they are having a lot of projects come through. So just trying to be there for their clients amidst all the craziness, it's a lot. So our sales reps are ready to get out and they're ready to get going again. The number one thing that the sales reps voiced that I thought was unique is they're really worried about the library situation as design firms phase back in slowly. Like they're worried about scheduling time to get into the office and see their clients just because some of them have had library appointments that have been like on the calendar for a year and they're canceled based on the situation. So just they're really aware that design firms are probably going to be more restrictive about how many people can come in and come out, and getting on the schedule is going to be really challenging. So our reps are really concerned about that, and they're going to be relying on really unique library leave behinds and things that they can just drop off and leave, since like the face-to-face might not happen as much as it did before. And they're really relying on things like what we do, which is really exciting to hear, because they're going to be looking for unique ways to get in front of their clients, maybe outside of the firm, outside of the office hours, just because it's going to be so hard. So that's something that's on every sales rep's mind, and if it's not, make sure you think about it because it is going to be more challenging. Just the last thing to kind of note, some of our cities are opening up, which is so exciting. Last week, a lot of designers in Nashville, Atlanta, and Dallas, those 3 cities particularly, are going back to the office. So they're already phasing back into the office in stages. So, some of them are still working from home, but a lot are phasing back into the office. We have reps that are out and about in those cities now doing drop-offs and even getting some face-to-face time, very limited, but still. So we've got our eyes on those 3 cities, Nashville, Atlanta, Dallas. We're going to kind of watch how things go there. Again, I'm in Chicago. I know a lot of our cities are not open, but those 3 cities are definitely getting back to work a little bit earlier. And so we're excited for them, and it's giving us all a little light at the end of this tunnel. So that's kind of our main recaps for this from the middle seat. Yeah, from the middle seat. And we look forward to seeing you in person soon, hopefully. So Hopefully we won't be doing too many more of these updates while I'm in my living room. Hopefully they'll be coming to you from across the country. So we'll talk to you soon, and we'll keep you updated with all the info we're hearing.